Good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Jimmy Hills. I am the host of Java with Jimmy, and we are back again at Boston Public Market here in downtown Boston. We are here today just with a lot of our state officials, our local urban farmers, our patrons of farmers. We are here at Boston Public Market today after just coming off of the Agricultural Advocacy Day. And so no stranger to the Java Cafe is my good friend, Cheryl Cronin. I just want to say a special hello because she said, are we going live? I need to tell my kids where to watch. And so shout out to the Cronin clan, who are the children of Cheryl. But Cheryl, despite the rain, despite the weather and the forecast, we're here today to talk about the importance of Boston Public Market. So please say hello to those that are here. If you all would like to give Cheryl a hand and welcome her into the Java Cafe. We have a live Boston Public Market audience. So Cheryl, please greet the folks and say hello.
James, thank you so much.
Go ahead, Cheryl. There we go.
Thank you so much. What an incredible welcome. It is a thrill to have you back again to the Boston Public Market. I'm sure you all recall James was here a few months ago. It was an incredibly delightful and wonderful day. And you bring so much excitement and warmth to the Boston Public Market. I'm so grateful for your support and interest.
Go ahead.
So welcome everybody to Ag Day, Massachusetts Ag Day, where we celebrate Massachusetts agriculture and farmers. We are thrilled to have so many farmers in the Boston Public Market, and many of our vendors source from other farms here. So it's just great to have you. It's a great day of celebration.
I'm glad to be here. This is, I think, my third or fourth time here. And so I just recently learned through this partnership about Agricultural Day. And so if you can give us just a couple of seconds about what is that? What really actually goes on at the State House?
Yes, well, several of us were up there for the day and had the great joy of walking around the State House, which, by the way, is an incredibly iconic and beautiful building. And we met with many legislators, both on the House and Senate side, to talk about agriculture farmers and, frankly, to ask them for their support of the Boston Public Market. And Ag Day has been a long tradition here. It celebrates Massachusetts farmers. I think we all learned during COVID, in particular, if we didn't know it before, that locally grown food is a really important part of our New England food system. And this day is a celebration of that.
I definitely appreciate that. And I'm sitting here and speaking of Agricultural Day, I made a mushroom sort of pasta last night, and I'm looking at the mushrooms there and the fresh vegetables, and we have fruits and all type of vendors here at Boston Public Market. And so along with the vendors that you support, we learned some months ago about the mentoring and the small business support. You have a specific focus, Cheryl, with Of Color and women-owned businesses. And give us 30 seconds of that for folks that may have not heard your previous interview.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you brought that up. Since the market opened in the summer of 2015, we knew that we needed to make a strong focus on making sure that farmers and entrepreneurs of color felt that this was the same economic opportunity that it is for many others. And there are barriers to certain entrepreneurs that exist and that we wanted to address. And obviously that focus grew over the past few years. And we started with the help of Citizens, who has been an incredible partner for us, the Entrepreneurship Forum, where we basically set up a 6-month series of seminars. We bring entrepreneurs into the market, coach them on what it is to run a small retail business. And we've gotten incredible feedback from them. A few of them have been in the market now as permanent vendors, doing incredibly well. And we're now in the middle of the second year of our Entrepreneurship Forum, which has been just delightful.
I am definitely excited. I see so many folks, well, not so many, but I see a few folks setting up, and we're actually going to talk to some of our state legislators and state senators and representatives. Now, they are currently in session. And so, we're going to be running in and out of them coming here, as you noticed before, in the team. I have to just shout out a few folks while we're doing this, Cheryl. I have to shout out Cheryl from the DeWitt Agency. Did I get it right? DeWitt Agency. DeWitt Impact Group, Jesse and Emily and Chelsea and everybody else that's a part of the team. Thank you so much, Gina, for making this happen. And even from my team, Newt is here as well. And so we're getting ready to talk with a couple of vendors.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to switch out. I'm going to try to work this out here. Y'all are going to see in real time what goes on with these cameras. But let's get ready to bring our first vendor up. And I believe our first person who is coming up is Claire Cheney. Yes, Claire, come on around this way and switch off with Cheryl. We are so excited to have you come and chat with us. And I believe we'll find out you may be one of the newer vendors here. We'll find out in a couple of seconds.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's go in and get ready to talk to Cheryl. And Cheryl, please introduce yourself and tell us. Cheryl just left. Claire, thank you so much. Claire, please introduce yourself. Tell us the name of your business and the type of business you have. Is it food? Is it an artsy thing? What do you hear vending here at Boston Public Market?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. My name is Claire Cheney. I'm the founder and owner of Curio Spice Company, and we are very new. We're actually opening this month, at the end of this month, here at the Boston Public Market. But we have, just like the Boston Public Market, been in business since 2015 in Cambridge. So we are a mission-driven spice company. Our mission is twofold. It's to improve the livelihoods of spice farmers by sourcing spices directly from small, sustainable farms around the world and here in New England. And also to inspire culinary creativity. So
I'm definitely a spice guy, and so what time do you close? Because I might need to shoot by before.
We're not open here yet.
Oh, not yet.
We'll be open in about 3-4 weeks.
Are you actually the a new company that I observed over to the left,
Yes.
setting up and going through the walkthrough today?
Yes, exactly.
Claire,
Yeah.
how do you feel?
I feel good. I feel excited.
You feel excited?
Yeah.
How long has it been from you with this vision of the spice company to actually having brick and mortar, being a part of brick and mortar here? How long has that been, and what has that process been like? And then what has the role also been of Boston Public Market supporting you there?
Yeah, it's exciting. So, well, we have actually been lucky. We've had brick and mortar in Cambridge for about 9 years. So this will be our first Boston location. And it's really exciting because we're kind of a little bit in the lesser known area of Cambridge. We're in North Cambridge, and we're kind of a destination. So being on this side of the river, we're really excited to have some visibility and for people to really get to know our brand and know that we exist. So it's a huge opportunity for us here.
You talked a lot about the sourcing, and you answered my question a little bit before I could ask. And so we know that there are spices that come from around the world. Can you tell us about some of the spices locally that you garner here? And that mission piece of supporting them is definitely important, keeping it local as much as you can. So first question, are there spices grown in Boston proper?
In Boston proper, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Massachusetts.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. So let's start with Massachusetts. What type of spices are grown here in Massachusetts?
So it's actually really cool and really unexpected. There are, of course, herbs that grow here in Massachusetts, but there's also a really cool farm out in Western Mass that grows ginger, which you would not expect.
Okay.
Really cool. They grow it in greenhouses. And so we source ginger from, it's actually called Old Friends Farm. They also make a really cool ginger syrup and a bunch of other products, but we source ginger from them. We source mushrooms from out in Deerfield. We also source seaweed from the ocean. So that
is local. That's local.
Pretty local.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so where do you get your spices from across the world? What are your top 3 spices that are selling right now in Cambridge, and where do they come from?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I would say one of our top sellers is cinnamon.
Okay.
And we have several different types, but one of the types is from Vietnam, and it's a really beautiful high oil cinnamon. It's super aromatic, super sweet. It's like gives you that cinnamon bun flavor.
Okay.
It's really good. We have another type of cinnamon that comes from Sri Lanka, and I've been working with the farmers there since 2015, and we've just been, nurturing that relationship. It's been really wonderful. We gave back to them during the Sri Lankan economic crisis.
Okay.
And that's one of our best sellers as well, is our Sri Lankan cinnamon.
That sounds like a savory type of cinnamon from Sri Lanka versus the other one. I want to sort of circle back. When you talk about giving back, we didn't delve too much into it, but being here at Boston Public Market with the support, can you talk about the support? Though you had brick and mortar, what has the experience been like here with Cheryl?
Oh, it's been awesome. Thank you, Cheryl and Gina. It's been really cool. We have had so many questions from, can we have a rug in our booth, to, more technical questions about, logistics. And they've been really responsive and communicative, which is huge. And it's, it's a complicated market. There's so many vendors here. There's so many moving parts. So I empathize with what they're dealing with, but they have been warm and welcoming and super supportive. So I appreciate that.
And as a woman-owned business, how has that relationship been with Cheryl, who's a woman as well, that's supporting? What type of extra support or relationship is there? Because it is, unfortunately, things are changing in the world, but things can also be, and to be very honest, maybe in dealing with other cultures, sometimes in the business place, from getting spices from across the world. How has that experience and support been here with Boston Public Market?
It's been awesome. I mean, I just feel like every woman entrepreneur should be, treated like we're treated here, which is with professionalism, with confidence, with a sense of urgency to excel. Because I have had the experience of going, across the world and not being taken seriously, or wondering, well, there must be a man behind this business as well. And it's like, nope, it's just me. Not just you,
it is you.
Yeah.
It is you, not just. And so I wanted to ask that because I thought it was so important. We understand different cultures or whatever, but I wanted to ask about that. The last question is, we're here today because we're coming off agricultural. How important is it to have a thriving agricultural system here in Massachusetts, have it be supported, have the farmers and all of them be supported, as well as yourself, and definitely still supporting Boston Public Market as a vendor and someone new here? How important is that?
Yeah, it's crucial. I think, as a mission-driven business, we're always trying to take care of our supply chains because they're direct with farmers. And locally, especially, I think that's really critical because in this era of climate crisis, there's, all farmers are vulnerable, but, especially here locally, when you're seeing and experiencing the community firsthand, you have to keep in mind, how is the state supporting those farmers? So when they're dealing with a drought or a flood or some kind of crisis, obviously that's going to affect them deeply and profoundly. And then it affects the supply chain. So if we're depending on those farmers for a particular product, it has this ripple effect. So anything the state can do with, subsidies, emergency funding, just being able to support farmers will inevitably help the entire network. It will help the market. It will help the community thrive. So,
Claire, I really appreciate you, and I really sense the mission and your dedication, not just to being an entrepreneur and making money, but you're sort of like a social entrepreneur and business owner. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to get ready to talk with some of our other vendors coming up as well.
Awesome.
We have someone coming soon. I just saw Lisa walk in from Citizens Bank, and so she's getting ready to come. We've had her before as a guest, and so we're so excited to have her back again. And so I'm going to figure this out here to switch out Claire and Lisa, but and I know the team's going to get me for talking this through, but Claire, thank you so much for being with us. And we're getting ready to talk to Lisa Murray, who was the president of Citizens Bank Mass. And while Lisa is getting ready to come, we just want to also keep you reminded of the type of opportunities and different type of supplies, from plants to fruits and vegetables to cheese. For those of you that are here in a live audience listening, kind of quiet, but come over and get some cheese. There's apples here. And are those what I think those are in the pan?
Donut.
Those, no. I was told not to. You want a donut, Lisa?
No, thank you. I'll be having some cheese afterwards. No,
Okay.
good. Thank you.
We're going to hold these now because I was told to do better at eating on camera. And so, Lisa, we are glad to have you back with us. It's been a few months. You were with us before, and we're so glad to have you back. A little bit darker, but you got your green on.
I
That
got my
Citizens close to green on.
I do.
And also a partner of yours, also with, the Celtics. Not the Celtics. I'm getting the green mixed up there. But I wanted to ask you to just talk about the importance of Agricultural Day. And your support and partnership also with Boston Public Market. They're advocating on the Hill, but you also support and partner with Cheryl and folks here at Boston Public Market. And so can you greet the folks and talk about that as well?
Sure. Hi, everyone. No, this is the Boston Public Market is near and dear to my heart, to citizens' heart. The work that they do here is just spectacular. I love how they speak to younger people with entrepreneurial skills and give them support. Oops, sorry. Give them the support they really need and the guidance. So it's one thing to be able to give them the space to, show what they're creating, but also to give them the support that they need in terms of understanding how to start a business, how to flourish with a business and take it to the next level. And I think that's just crucial as we try to support minority entrepreneurs, women, BIPOC, you name it. This is a place that they can come and feel safe and supported.
That has been something that you all have been dedicated to. Even I'm familiar with the sort of Citizens brand prior to your leadership there and others as well. And so you talk about supporting small businesses. We just had Claire here, who's a women-owned business. Cheryl is in leadership here, who's a woman as well. Can you talk about specifically, and you are a woman who's the president of Citizens Bank. How important is it to see women in leadership in spaces like this at Citizens Bank, and also these wonderful entrepreneurs? I don't know if we have a percentage of who are women. Maybe we can find out. Women that are here at Boston Public Market. If you could speak to that.
Sure. I think it's just incredibly important that women support women. And I will say, when about 2.5 years ago, when I took over this job, I was blown away by how many people reached out to me and congratulated me and sort of took me under their wing. I have multiple women's groups that I go to when I need to talk through something. And that support is invaluable. But what I love about this program is, of the 39 people in the program this year, the current year, 77%.
You have the number.
I have for
this year,
77%
of this cohort.
72% are BIPOC, identify as BIPOC. So it is just this rich group of individuals that are getting the support that they need. And again, it's hard enough to do it when you have all the support, but it's almost impossible to do if you don't have the support.
And how important is it for citizens? Why do citizens stay committed and keep providing this support? Where does that commitment come from and lie as far as supporting Boston Public Market that has the cohort and supports these businesses as well?
Well, Cheryl and her team just make it so easy to support. I mean, you can see the good work that they're doing every time you walk in here, and I walk in here all the time. My office is across the street, and you can talk to the entrepreneurs. You can just feel the comfort that they have here, and just another way to introduce people to what Boston has to offer. And one of my favorite things about the Boston Public Market is that almost entirely the produce that you see here, the crafts, are made here in New England. So we're not only supporting the entrepreneurs here in New England, we're supporting the community and to share their wares with the community and bring everybody together. That's invaluable, particularly now post-COVID, when there's so many people not into the city. We need to find things like this to bring them in.
Cheryl, that's a good segue. We're here at Boston Public Market, but you make this investment in entrepreneurship, period, as far as Citizens Bank. And so if you wanted to share just some of the other things that you're supporting as far as Citizens Bank, we would be glad to hear that as well. Boston Public Market today is definitely the priority, but we also want to give you a chance as well to talk about other things that you're doing.
No, I appreciate that. So actually just yesterday, we were out at the Home for Little Wanderers with our CEO.
Very familiar.
Yes, they are wonderful.
Yes.
Leslie Suggs is the CEO there. So we were out there with our chairman, Bruce Van Son, at their location in Walpole, where they do workforce development. So we got to tour their culinary school, their horticulture school, their word shopping school. So they take kids that are just incredibly vulnerable, and they've tried to find whatever speaks to them in terms of a trade. And we met some just incredible kids yesterday, and they're just doing amazing work there. So we do that. We also support Pine Street Inn and their food service. I cater there. So it's just, we're very much into the workforce development and just finding places where we can make a difference by giving not only financial support, but also through our volunteerism.
A couple of places that you mentioned there had a lot to do with food. And so I'm going to ask you a personal question. Are you a foodie?
I am such a foodie.
You are such a foodie.
I'm such a foodie. So I'm actually going to Italy in a couple of weeks because we're such foodies. I'm like, I get to go someplace that's
Lisa's about to be my best friend. I need some olive oil, some real truffle.
I'm doing an olive oil tour, a wine tour. We're taking a culinary class. It's going to be awesome.
All right. That community investment that Citizens makes and the opportunity to expose community leaders to the world, that might be a good way for me to go to Italy with you.
I think we could work something out.
Lisa, because I will be asking for staffers information. But Lisa, I want to thank you. I know you're very busy and have a lot to do. Thank you so much for stopping by, as you always do. And just thank you for supporting. I'm an entrepreneur, BIPOC entrepreneur, gay entrepreneur. And so thank you so much for all that you do in entrepreneurship. I want to also say thank you for the support that you give here to Cheryl and the team. One thing that has been major consistent, I know you probably hear this, but just to report back to you, everybody that I talk to that has been through the program and the vendors, they talk so much about the support and sort of the individual customized support and mentoring and technical assistance that they get here. So I just want to say thank you from those that I've talked to, not even on the show, but just randomly. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing a spotlight to us public market, as I know you have done multiple times. So thank you.
We're looking forward to doing more as well. So Lisa, thank you so much for being with us today. And we're going to get ready to have someone else come up and join us. We are in real time. You all know that the Java Cafe is a very organic space. And so our next guest, we're getting ready to have two guests come. You all just come on and come up. We'll tell who you are when you get up here. I want to shout out the technical team. As you see here, we have the wonderful graphic of Java with Jimmy on the wall here. We got two brothers getting ready to come. We're going to work this out. So what we'll do here, if you can take that mic off and they'll pass it back and forth, please. And actually, we'll keep that off so folks can hold it close. Thank you, brother. And so who we have here now, thank you. Who we have here now with us is Lucas Reckling and also Seth Price, who are of Sienna Farms. Now, I'm not going to it's two separate companies. Oh, okay. So we have, all right. So again, we're doing this in real time, everyone. So we're going to get this together real quick. We have Lucas, who is from Bagel Guild, and we also have Seth, who is from Sienna Farms. And so we are going to start with you, Seth, and Ash. You all can give him a hand. I forgot that, we need to get an applause sign. Put that somewhere in the budget show with our live audience here. And so, Seth, if you could introduce yourself, and then we'll talk to Lucas in a couple of seconds as well.
Sure thing. Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Seth Price. I'm the retail manager down at Sienna Farms. I've been there for about 2.5 years now. And a little bit about Sienna Farms. We are a farm situated out in Sudbury, Massachusetts. So about 25 miles northwest of the city proper. We grow on about 75 acres out there. So we are what people consider to be a diversified vegetable farm.
I was going to ask what type of farm. So thank you.
Yeah, so we grow pretty much every vegetable, plant, flower, and mushroom underneath the northeastern sun. Over 150 varieties each year. So,
any spices out there?
We got a couple of spices. We actually have some ginger coming up. I heard that.
Okay, so local support, absolutely. Sure. So 150 or so, or 150 type of vegetables, you said?
Just about.
Yeah.
So diversity is our priority, and we are always trying to get as many different plants and crops in the ground each year.
And so not just diversity as far as your crop, but I saw that sort of emphasis when you said diversity. How has it been here observing the diversity within Boston Public Market and the support that's coming out. You as an entrepreneur, that diverse sort of support, the sort of customized support that I've asked about. Can you speak to that being here with Cheryl?
Yeah, I definitely can. We have had nothing but a wonderful experience here in Boston Public Market. Farming is sometimes a business, much more a lifestyle than it is business. So it's tough to get your fingers in a big metropolitan area like you see in the city of Boston. So to have this space here and really embrace the diversity that brings in, being in the city is wonderful. Specifically, coming from the small farm perspective.
Absolutely. And we're going to ask you to pass the mic to Lucas, that's going to talk to us about one of my favorite forms of flour and eggs and different things. I don't know the areas are going, but bagels. Yes. Definitely bagels. And so, Lucas, if you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself and the Bagel Guild.
Sure. My name is Lucas Reckling. My brother Zach and I started Bagel Guild during the pandemic, and we are coming up on our 2-year anniversary here at Boston Public Market, making sourdough bagels, incorporating freshly milled New England grains.
And what other type of, or what are the flavors? Do you have different flavors? I've seen things like with strawberry and what kind?
We got like 12 or 13 flavors.
12 or 13 flavors. Yeah. Give us a few of them.
All right. You got your normal, your everything bagel, your sesame bagel, your poppy seed bagel. We do a rosemary and salt bagel. We do a jalapeno cheddar bagel. We've messed around with a challah French toast bagel.
A hollow French toast?
Challah French toast. You know, like challah, like the Jewish bread.
Okay. Yeah. And French. When we've been here before, we've done the little tasting thing. I don't know if they passed that information on to you all. No, just a little plug there. I'll have to come by and hear about it. And so I want to ask you as well. You've been in existence for 2 years. Seth, how long have you been in existence?
Sienna Farms has been in the market since 2015. So we have been right here from the get-go.
Okay, I want to ask Lucas's experience with Cheryl, the entrepreneurship program. How has that worked for you? What type of support have you received, and what has been your experience here?
It's been great. The last 2 years have been really good to us. The market's been really good to us. They're very supportive with helping us find more space to do more exciting things, with helping us get set up. There was another bagel shop in the market actually before we joined that we took over from. And the market helped us flip that stall over. And I think it was 3 days. They closed on Saturday and we opened for business the following Wednesday. So that wouldn't have been possible at all without the market's support.
Okay. And so it's the business support and actually hands-on and logistics and walking you guys through openings. Yeah. We heard from Claire. We literally saw that, like, I walked past and you could see that they're in, like, going over the setup and things like that. So you get the type of support from a business standpoint and also logistics and setup and different things like that. And also whether you can have a rug or not as well. Lucas, if you were to describe your experience, if you were to go somewhere and try to get a brick and mortar somewhere else, or if you try to, can you compare and contrast, maybe if you have that experience versus when you came here to Boston Public Market?
Sure. When we got started, we were doing more traditional farmers markets. And one thing we really like about Boston Public Market is how it keeps that feel, how you have many different businesses here all working together, collaborating. We are using Stillman's Farms produce in our fruit jam that we make fresh. We source our meat from Farmhouse Meats and Cheese. And that's that kind of community building is really great. And that's something that if we were to get a brick and mortar, we'd really miss.
I definitely want to ask Seth about that as well. Have you been in existence since 2015? Were you at another brick and mortar? Well, frame it in a manner that the advantage of being here at Boston Public Market, but what has your experience been like since being here? You can add a little contrast maybe somewhere else.
Yeah, sure thing. So we have a bit of a unique experience in that we actually have a brick and mortar down in the South End neighborhood of Boston. And unlike that one, the community here and having the greater market space really allows us to, just gain greater exposure for our storefront and to know the other stores and really compound upon each other's business and have them, have their same patrons walk through our storefront really means a lot. And I think does a ton for our business and the community we create.
I hear the word community, and this is, I believe, my third or fourth time here, maybe third, forth. Speaking to vendors, and I'm constantly hearing this sort of thing. Cheryl may get me for this. Is it like a family here at Boston Public?
For sure.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the reason I said Cheryl would get me because she kind of default becomes the mom of all these wonderful folks here. And so talk about that, because I mean, without saying it, I'm listening to you, I'm listening to Lucas, my other past experiences here, and you hear sort of that family component, not just with the business, but there's a holding, I can't think of another, there's a support system, I can't think of the right word, a nurturing, if you will. Can you talk about that family component among the businesses and you all share and customers and whatnot? How important has that been to you?
Yeah, totally. It's been the most important thing to us. I mean, sometimes I need to limit the amount of times I walk through the market because I can't get through it without it taking 15 minutes talking to everybody that's in here.
Okay.
But yeah, people really, they know each other's faces here and they're invested in one another and seeing their operations grow and succeed. So I think, they provide a layer of resilience underneath each business and having one another in the same space, and just, building off of each other's success for sure.
Absolutely. Lucas, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree with everything that he just said. And what was I going to say?
Family, nurturing.
Yeah. The people are what make the market the experience it is, I think, for the customers and also for each other. And having that support network, having people to troubleshoot with, having people to share things with, and having people who are genuinely invested, even though they're not part of the same business, and your business being successful and you being invested in their businesses being successful across the whole market.
It definitely stands out. And so both Lucas and Seth, I want to thank both of you for being here. We're getting ready. We said we were going to go between vendors and some of our state officials as well. And so we're getting ready to bring one of our state officials on, and that is the Undersecretary Ashley Stolba is getting ready to come. She is from the Mass Office of Economic Development, and she's going to come speak with us. And I'm feeling her energy already. And she's coming with a beverage, I presume, bought here at oh, I'm loving this. I'm just meeting.
I'm very excited to meet you.
Okay, cool.
I know we've been trying to do this for quite some time. So
and we got you here.
very
Please have
happy
a
to be
seat.
here
Make
in
yourself
this
comfortable.
awesome place. I'm drinking out of my glass water bottles because we don't do plastic anymore. But I'm very excited to drink out of my ginger buzz.
All right. So I know protocol. So we're going to refer to you as Secretary, and I'm saying it right, Stolba?
Stolba, yes.
Stolba.
But I'm undersecretary, but you can call me Ashley. Yes, I don't want to get in trouble. Yes.
Okay, I don't want you. I've been known to give out promotions and give people doctorates and whatnot, but I also don't want to mess at the State House either. And so you're coming off of Agricultural Day.
Yes, so
up at the
exciting.
State House. And so it is where, folks go and they advocate to the legislature, and you are within the administration.
Yep.
Shout out to our good friend that is on here and there. Both of them are Governor Maura Healey and also Lieutenant, I always get ready to call her Kim, but Lieutenant Governor Driscoll as well. So we definitely, you work with them
very closely,
in the space of economic development. And so, I mean, there's so many ways that I can go with you. There's the economic impact. There's the point that Claire and others talked about of local sourcing. And so where would you like to start as far as the importance of agriculture in the economic development sphere or environment?
So I too could go a variety of ways with this, but the first thing I'll say is what an honor it is that I am part of the Healey Driscoll administration. So I've been in this role for about 3 years, and I feel so lucky that I'm still on the team, and I'm working very closely, as you said, with Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll, and also very closely with our Secretary of Economic Development, Yvonne Howe, who is very jealous that she is not here tonight and I am here. So I'm dealing with a little bit of FOMO from her on that. I definitely that I'm here. But Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll made it crystal clear right in the beginning of their administration that they cared deeply about small businesses and rural economic development. So
absolutely.
I would say, I think it was like month one, they announced that they will be forming a position specifically dedicated to rural areas. They also said they're going to create a position specifically dedicated to small businesses. So these are positions that did not exist previously. And that has made a huge difference. So the individual that we chose, we are so lucky to lead the rural economic development, is former Senator Ann Goby. So we stole her from the Senate, and we are so lucky to have her. Already she's visited over 181, over half of our 181 rural and small towns across the Commonwealth. One thing I'll mention, and I know you probably know this from walking around here, is rural towns exist all across the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
They're not just in Western Mass,
Yes.
which I think sometimes it's kind of a misnomer.
There is a misnomer about
Yeah.
that. And also we have to name that a lot of those rural areas have also ample space to maybe work with agricultural
Yes.
entities and go ahead. I know
Yes.
you're going to go ahead.
No, you're right. And I'm from the Cape. We have rural towns on Cape Cod.
Yep.
So they're everywhere. So Anne has been absolutely amazing in engaging with our rural communities, really trying to hear boots on the ground what their needs are, because they all are very unique.
Yep.
But she's done an unbelievable job. So I would say that's the key piece in kind of developing our rural economic development plan right from the get-go. And then I can get into the economic development plan that we filed, the economic development bill that we filed, but that's a great place to start talking about Anne.
We can talk a little bit about both of those, but
Yeah.
specifically because we're here,
Yeah.
how do those bills impact places like Boston Public Market,
Yeah.
our farmers that are a big contributor to the agricultural environment here in Massachusetts? Go any which way. And
All right.
go.
I'm
Let's
gonna go.
I'll just
I'm
sit
gonna
back.
go.
You
I'm gonna go, and then tell me if I'm talking too long. So
No,
I'll
go
bring
ahead.
you
You good.
way back. So we appointed Ann Goby as our rural director. We also appointed Deco Jabril, who some of you may know.
Yes.
I'm sure you do know her. She came from the city of Boston.
Yep.
Talk about boots on the ground, working with micro businesses, small businesses in the city of Boston. So we scooped her up. So now she's working with small businesses.
Y'all
all
taking
across
folks from the
Commonwealth.
city, from the
We
Senate.
are.
More.
I'm shameless. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding.
Go ahead, go,
We
you good.
checked. So we're super lucky to have the both of them. So after that, we launched our economic development planning process. So every 4 years, the state legislature requires us to do an economic development plan that sets forth the agenda for the next 4 years. So the next administration. So as Secretary Howe would say, if we have to do it, why don't we make it awesome? So I think we made it awesome, and we took it super, super, super seriously. So what we did is we did listening sessions all across the Commonwealth. We had thousands of people show up to these listening sessions and tell us what was on their mind. One of the things that we heard loud and clear as it specifically relates to this is we need to make our access to our grant programs easier.
Yeah.
So right now,
Yep.
I mean, it sounds so silly, but right now we have so many grant programs that we offer through a variety of, government entities. But I'm sure all these businesses here will say, like, how do you use them? How do we
Exactly.
access them? I
Exactly.
mean, some of them are so smart and they're wonderful to go to people like Lisa, who I'm so happy to hear that Citizens was here and is so deeply involved. But a lot of companies don't know how to access our program. So one of the things that we're working on, and we made very clear in the economic development plan, is that we want to make it easier. So we are launching what we're called the business front door. So this is BFD. So you come to this website. Tell us what you're trying to do. Tell us how many employees you have and how can we be helpful to you. And the idea is that we will actually help. We'll have a concierge service on the back end, working with each business to kind of figure out their needs. So that's one thing that we're doing
Absolutely.
in terms of the plan. We also heard loud and clear that we need more funding.
Advocacy Day.
Advocacy Day, Ag Day. Yeah, so we need more funding. So one of the few things that we did is we, in the bill that we just filed, the Mass Leads bill, it's our economic development bill, we included $100 million to authorize the Rural Development Fund. So one of the things that we oversee is capital programs to invest in infrastructure in all of our municipalities. Rural towns need this more
Absolutely.
than ever,
Yes.
and the needs are very expensive and quite high. So we want to be sure that we codified this fund and authorized up to $100 million for capital improvements to rural towns, only available to them. We also wanted to beef up CDFI. So I know you talked a lot about technical
Community-
assistance
yes,
and how
yeah.
are we gonna help small businesses. So our community development financial institutions are hugely important to us.
Absolutely. Yep.
So we included $35 million in our bill to authorize that funding for that. Another thing that we did is the Destination Development Capital Grant Program. So this is a program that's typically available to tourism assets.
Yes.
So what we did is we made a little bit of a tweak this year, and we're going to give priority to agriculture tourism.
So for people to go visit the farms and go do
yes,
apple picking, and it may be at a cheese,
Yes.
but what do you call it? A dairy,
a dairy farm.
dairy farm. Thank
Yes.
you.
So, and one of the wonderful things about Boston Public Market is that, and I was talking to Ann Goby right before I came here, she said it's been so awesome because folks will come here, they'll go to Stillman, right? They'll buy something here, and then they'll go out to the farm and visit it.
And
right.
it
So
makes a lot of sense.
it makes
You
a
make
lot
it a
of
trip.
sense.
Yep.
Right. If you're here, you're like, wait, I want to see where this thing was grown, or oh, I love the person who's working here so much. I want to go meet them or learn more about them. So it's been hugely beneficial to get folks from Boston out to our rural towns and visiting these farms.
So one of my good indicators of a good interview is if I'm a little tired after the interview, and our undersecretary as well. No, in a good way, because it's good to hear that these investments are being made. And I like sort of the difference of including the agriculture as a destination point. Because you would think it's the apple picking, the going out to different farms or learn about spices or their local farms, right here in Boston and in rural areas, not just out in Western Mass. And so did we miss anything? We do need to we didn't talk about just we didn't articulate the impact that Boston Public Market is having with a lot of these entrepreneurs here. And you talk about economic development. Entrepreneurship is a good way for economic development. Can you speak to just your observation and awareness of what Cheryl and the team is doing here?
Well, huge thanks to Cheryl for this. And like, kudos. This place is awesome. I remember when it first opened, how excited I was. I was a student at Suffolk Law School, and I was so psyched to come here. And I did almost every day. The lines were so long, and I'm so happy that you guys made it through COVID and are now totally bounced back. And as I said, it's actually helped me, right? So I go to these places. I'm inspired to go visit farms, but I am so excited to see all these businesses. I don't know this to be true, but I imagine that because of you, a lot of these companies were able to survive COVID, right? I mean, they relied on this.
I would, and Cheryl's, if you know Cheryl, she's pointing to the team, but I would venture and go ahead and say with you, if you talk to a lot, they're probably going to say, oh yeah. And then those that got an opportunity in actual COVID or coming out.
That's exactly right. So we're so grateful for you and so much of the work. And, we see a lot of these places. I think you were, you're at the forefront of creating this. So we love it.
I appreciate you. I was going to say secretary, Secretary Stolba. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the energy. Keep doing what you do. And I'm sure you know my good friend, Shagun. I'm sure you guys.
I blew off a call with Shagun to talk to you. So I'm going to go text him. And
Wait a minute, because he said that he had a call later because he could.
It's with my boss. So they.
Okay. So, okay. All right. We're live. We won't be able to edit that. Thank you so much for being with us today. We are getting ready to have we can go ahead and switch off.
Could I just say one
Go ahead.
thing?
Absolutely.
I
Anything
do
you
just
like.
want to recognize my legislative partners. I know some of them have walked in, but we are so grateful for the wonderful partnership that we have with our legislative colleagues. So I just want to give a huge shout out to them. And I know some of them will be speaking after me, but we're proud partners with them.
Thank you so much for that. And that wonderful relationship between the legislature and the administration is definitely important. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much.
All right, everyone. We're getting ready to talk with our two of our representatives. There's another one here as well, but we're going to save him by himself because he's one of my good friends. But we'll save him for a few minutes. But right now we have two representatives that are getting ready to come. That is Representative Bill McGregor and also Representative John Moran. So we're going to ask both of them to come and join us here in the Java Cafe. You can give them a hand. And it is good to see both of you. You're coming off of Agricultural Day. That's it. So very busy up there. We'll start with our Representative McGregor and just ask, how was it coming off of Agricultural Day? Did you get a lot of visits and a lot of advocacy?
There was some advocacy, and I had a few people come by, but nothing too crazy today. But it was actually really busy in the Great Hall, which was great to see. And I know a lot of people appreciated the free ice cream and the free food. So, and it's good to promote that within the State House.
And there was free ice cream up there today.
There was. My staffer Michael. He was eating ice cream at like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. I was like, "What are you doing?"
The question is, though, you said your staffer. Did he bring you any? He didn't bring you any.
No, I didn't bring.
No ice cream. Okay,
no.
You'll remember that when it's
one-way street. One way.
We got to give a shout out to all the staffers. Definitely, being in government, they make things go around in your office. So in all seriousness, let's give a hand to all the staffers. A couple of them are here today. And so also we're going to ask our Representative Moran to introduce himself. And how was Agricultural Advocacy Day at the State House for you?
It was great, Jimmy, and it's first of all great to be here. Thanks for having us on. And yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Actually, I must be honest, I was home doing a little work from home. My aide called me and said, "You better get up to the State House," because she knows I love to eat. And she said, "There's even apple pie there, and you love apple pie, so you got to get up." So I did, and got that. I think I got the last slice. I might have cut in front of somebody, but we won't talk about that here.
So you got there right on time.
I did.
Oh, see, aides, actually, staffers and aides, they help out.
They do. Well, yeah,
maybe not ice cream, but you at least got apple pie.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. We wouldn't live without them. They're amazing. And you imagine coming out of college sometimes, and it's their first job. I wish I had that talent at that age. They're incredible. We do owe them a debt of service for what they do.
Absolutely. I know there's been a lot to support our staffers in the State House. And so I hear both of you being supportive of them as well. And so let me ask you sort of an easy question. Then we'll get into the importance of Agricultural Day and supporting entrepreneurs and how Massachusetts agriculture contributes to our economy. But are you a foodie?
Am I a foodie?
Are you a foodie?
Well, I am. I should be a foodie. I live in the South End with my partner. We've been there for about 25 years. And, that is Sienna Farms actually started right at the end of our Waltham Street in the South End.
So there's a connection with our last segment guest. Wow.
Yeah. So it's definitely a place where, cuisine is emphasized. There are a lot of great restaurants. I'm always kind of giving out advice. But I think coming here to the markets is a great start because you can get a good sampling of all the cuisine we have across the city and the state, all the vendors who sell primary product, but also product made of ingredients from farms all across the state. So I'm also kind of a country farm boy from Pennsylvania. So all this stuff kind of resonates with me, and I really love what they're doing here at the market. I don't know about you, Bill.
So I do consider myself a foodie, but I do have to be honest. I have a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old.
So your palate has been forced to change.
It has absolutely changed, and usually I'm just eating whatever the leftovers they have right now. So, but I mean, I love this. I know it's been open since 2015. It's something that when I was a staffer in City Hall, I used to come down here often. We're lucky to have so many shops here. I think there's over 30, I believe, or 30.
Last number, I'm not sure. How many shops? 39. It may have just went up. We got, is it 31? And number 31 is in the process of opening now. We just had Claire here, and she's getting ready to open. So 31 right now.
And to go back to the ice cream, I know there's Crescent Ridge and Sharon, which isn't in my district, but I will say I will bring my kids over to the playground right nearby, and then we'll go for ice cream right after. So I love that it's here. So now I can just obviously I know it's been here. I can but I probably should be grabbing this and then heading home.
Well, then, families first. So I'll start asking this segment with you. How important is it to make sure that we support places like Boston Public Market, to make sure, as I believe it was Claire or Lucas, or one of them said that there are subsidies for farms. There's, climate post-COVID. To you, how important is it? And mention anything that you're working on to make sure that places like this are supported. There's a lot of diversity here. It is a place that you can come. Our undersecretary, I believe she probably came here, was doing homework and things. The importance of this place to you.
It's extremely important. I mean, we're really lucky to have this. I know back in the 60s, and I believe in the 80s, they actually wanted to try and make this into a hotel. So we're very lucky to have this here. If I don't, maybe I'm not right. Am I? Oh, I am right.
That's why the hospitality is here. No, I'm messing. Oh no.
So we're really lucky to have this, just because there's 30 shops here. It's it helps our local economy, and it's also environmental. I mean, 10 years ago, before this was built, I remember there was a study that came out that 87% of our agriculture was coming from California. Now that was 10 years ago. Now we have this where people are able to shop and get something local.
Yes.
That's why this is important. We're helping our local farmers. We're helping our local small businesses. That's why something like this is just, we're very lucky to have this. So, I know that the numbers are a little bit lower than it was in 2019 before the pandemic, but I know the numbers have gotten better with the visitation since the pandemic. So I'm excited to see that it's increased at least by 30%. And we just need to keep promoting it. And I know Representative Moran and I are going to keep doing that because I know businesses in my district utilize some of the products here. So
there's, if you can speak to this too, there's a lot of intersectionality between the entities that are here going out to the farms. You're supporting maybe out at the farm, you know, they may be supporting someone local that lives out there. You can speak to that. As you said, you're a country far boy from Philly. And so maybe if you could talk about that and how important it is from the farm into somebody's hands here at Boston Public Market, and anything you want to mention about your observation of the great work that's going on here.
Yeah, no, thanks, Jimmy. You know, for sure, you know, one thing that I think maybe Undersecretary Stolba mentioned is, you know, our economic development bill will also have to address this because we want to make sure that we maintain our farmers in the state and make sure that they're producing, you know, as my colleague Brett McGregor said, that we really need to have sustainable farms in the state. And, you know, even goes down to the fact that in my district, I have Greater Boston Food Bank, who relies on products somewhat from you know, the farmers that produce in this state. And, you know, they are the, you know, really providing great product to the many people who need, you know, need nutrition. They're also focused, I think the focus in the industry overall in terms of in the food banks, et cetera, is culturally appropriate foods. And I think that's where we have an advantage here in the state of Massachusetts, where we can, if things are produced locally, more organically, we can definitely have an edge to make sure that we are addressing the cultural needs of our diverse communities.
I like how you brought up the fact that you need that diversity and culturally appropriate foods, even from the food bank. Sometimes there's enough of going through sometimes the experience that you have to go to the food bank. Everybody I've had to in my life. My family has. And so to be able to go there and see something you recognize, maybe see something from your homeland, and that is hugely important. And some of those things are grown here in Massachusetts. And so before we get ready to wrap up with both of you, I would just like to ask you, how important is it to have this cohort, this intentional training of training and supporting entrepreneurs? From your perspective, I'm not sure what committee, you can feel free to talk about whatever committees you're on or overseeing, but from your perspective as being in the legislature, understanding coming from a farm, how important is it to have that sort of hand-holding and mentorship that Cheryl and the team is doing here?
Well, I think it's really important. You know, I see it obviously here that we need to have the workforce development funds available to train our next generation, to train folks. I see it. NECAT is also in my district, you know, and
I'm a board member on NECAT. So shout out to NECAT, the New England Culinary Art Training place.
So they're reliant on a similar stream where we're teaching our, you know, folks to new skills, transitioning to new careers, mid-career, beginning. So I think the work that the market here does to make sure that we're training our you know, citizens to actually do something that they love, do something that adds value to both themselves, their families, the community, is really important. I just can't applaud the work. I couldn't say more positive things about the work that Cheryl's doing. I'm really grateful to be part of this.
Cheryl's going to get us, because every time we say Cheryl, she goes, "It's everybody."
It's every.
We'll make sure we'll get a list before we end today and get everybody's name.
The dream team, we'll call
the
them,
dream
right?
team. But a team needs a leader. And so we definitely want to highlight Cheryl for that as well. And so any last comments in reference to your observation or your appreciation for the intentional mentoring that's going on with entrepreneurs here?
It's something that's extremely important. I mean, we need to be bringing this to a younger generation. It's something that, so people are aware of this. I am from Boston. I didn't have a farming background or was around a farm by any means. So I never knew I had like that kind of direction, I guess. But some people do. And some people in Boston would have that direction if they're exposed to it. And I think that's why we need to encourage the training for our youth and for those graduating college and whatnot. And as I mentioned, I'm not a farm boy. I am from Boston. So, but no,
Tell
wait,
by his accent.
I did hear it a couple of seconds ago. I was like, oh, real old school ball. But no, you talk about the young people, and so I've been known for kind of put some things out there. Maybe the state can look at working with Cheryl. There's the Youth Advisory Council that the governor has at a sort of intentionality about working with our young people. There's a mental health impact that comes from farming. I started gardening in 21, and oh my, so there's a mental health impact. So you may be tapping into something there with intentionality about young people with farming, but also entrepreneurship as well.
I absolutely agree. I'm actually on the Small Business and Community Development Committee.
Okay.
So I would
Oh,
love
you are?
to. I
I'm a small bit. No, go ahead.
Why did I say that? No. Anyway, I can help support Cheryl and the team. I would love to be, be there to support them. So hopefully that we can work on that together at some point.
I want to thank both our representatives, Bill Moran and also Bill McGregor and John McGregor. I got 50. Everybody
we must say that people get us confused all the time, and we leave each other voicemails from each other's personality just to be funny. We do.
Okay, I don't feel too bad. I got a few papers up here, and I'm trying to keep it all together.
It's actually cheaper for taxpayers. We could blend into one person, right?
No, we need both of you up there advocating for us, and so each of your life experience. We got Russell Holmes over there yelling up at both of them. So you all come on. We'll let you cross over on camera. We have a good friend of mine. I getting ready to say this darn senator. Last couple of times, he said, last couple of times I've talked about him. Thank you both so much. I wish I could give a more extensive departure greeting, but thank both of you for all that you do up at the State House. Thank you so much. This next young man is getting ready. Turn his mic down. This next young man is getting ready to come on. Is a friend, is someone that advocates for our community. Sometimes we have taken different roads in how we advocate for community, but yet and still we all together to do what's right for the community. And so I'm getting ready to introduce to some and present to others. And I think the last time I was here, we had the pleasure of having him hop on camera for just a couple of seconds. So there is some intentionality about him being here today. And so the good, the wonderful. But why am I saying senator? Is there anything creeping around in the background?
Nothing.
Oh, hold on. We gotta give you a mic. There's nothing creeping around in the background.
So I still say, for those who don't realize, I think being a senator will be a demotion.
Because it's not as close. Why? Tell it. I got an idea knowing you, but why do you say that?
Because I come back to money, right? And so if you pay me the same amount of money for 4 times the work, that sounds like a demotion to me. Like, would you go into some place and say, hey, give me the same money and take care of 4 times the amount of people? You wouldn't do that. So, good to see you.
It's good to see you. Please tell folks why you're here today and from your perspective, why Agriculture Day was so important. Thank you, because you were up at the State House.
Yep.
I'm sure you got visits.
Yeah,
and then you walked down and came down here.
Of course I did. So
because you were coming on the Java with Jimmy show, right?
Of course. But Ag Day today was good because of the fact that a lot of people came knocking on the door. I love to see the young people come into the building. That is always so good. One, we teach them how to advocate.
Yes.
And what's important, because of the fact that we forget this world's going to be given to them very soon. I mean, it's like we're going to be dead and gone very soon. But then just for all of us Boston people.
Can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yep.
Because the former representative talked about young people. You talked about young people in agriculture. Remember 4-H and stuff back in the day?
Of course.
Where is that now?
Gone. But I also remember when they used to say litter bugs. You remember
bugs? No.
Litter bugs.
Litter bug. Yeah.
Yeah. What happened to that too?
Well, we don't have trash cans on the streets anymore.
No, come on. We got trash cans. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Like people litter like it's crazy. It's going out of style nowadays. So all these things that I thought when we were growing up were good things. They are good things, but somehow they've been
not
forgotten.
around.
But
so you had young people come in today to advocate around agriculture.
Well, and not only advocate, but they advocate strongly. I had some folks come and
coming
say,
from you.
Yeah, because I try my best to teach them. While they're there. Like, don't come in here and just read something. Don't come in and read. Why are you here?
Yes.
What you doing?
Yep.
Well, do you have a job? Are these people paying you? You know what I mean? Like I asked the real questions, and so we had some good answers. And no, but they were actually genuinely advocating. Like, one of the things that I like so much is still the simple illustration of, hey, this is how long it takes food that is local to get to your plate. And then this is how long it takes food to come from California to get to your plate. And so just having them continue to have those conversations about not only agriculture, but local agriculture.
Yes.
Which is why we're here today. You think about all the folks here. This is all about being local. It's not about the fact that this food came from somewhere strange. It came from Massachusetts. And that's what makes it so great to be here. And that's what they were advocating for today on Ag Day.
Absolutely. I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into, we have the shops here.
Yep.
We got Shay here, my other brother
I
here.
came in
Forgive me
for
for
my
getting your
ice cream, just to
name.
let you know.
But we got Shay here as well. Shay butter, oil, Shay. She'll tell me later, but come down here in Boston
Where you
Public
from,
Market.
Shay? You from somewhere in Massachusetts, right?
She's from Mattapan.
That's right.
This might be your state rep up here.
Might be. What street you live on? What street you live on? What street you live
We don't
on?
want to put her out on the internet.
Oh, she off of Well Hill.
She right around the corner.
She lives where I live, so she definitely my constituent.
Make sure you talk to him. He
Yeah.
just talked about small businesses and whatnot. Some of his
Yeah.
colleagues are here.
If you
They
off
talk
of
about
Wellington Hill, I live on Wellington Hill, as you know, brother. I live on the street where Morningstar Baptist is, Goodale. So you and I live in the same neighborhood.
and I'm not your constituent.
I know we
I'm
we
down with
kicked you
Liz.
out the district. I know.
You're not going to. So, Representative, first, let me ask you. You talked about youth. You talked about Ag Day, and there is a portion of agriculture, I believe, that like SNAP benefits
Yep.
from the federal level
Yep.
comes out of that department. There are entities here that actually take SNAP to
Yep.
get the fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
In relationship to Advocacy Day and our part of our community that either temporarily or for whatever reason
Yep.
have SNAP benefits
Yep.
and need healthy food options. Can you talk about
a couple things about
Yes,
this?
sir.
One is many of the farmers markets and places like this double your SNAP benefit.
That's true. So there is an event. Okay.
So,
Yep.
so you come in, you have whatever the amount is, they'll double your SNAP benefit, which is cool. But then that's on fruits and vegetables. There's a movement now that is going to also move to dairy, where you're going to be able to, like I was at, I don't know if I can say a different name, but not here, but they were saying if you go in and you get your milk and you're on SNAP, it's going to now qualify for half price. So it won't just be fruits and vegetables in the coming, I think she said in the coming weeks, you can also go get dairy. And so just think, the place I was at, a gallon of milk was $4. That's going to go down to $2. That makes a very big difference.
And it does. And also it doesn't mean, because something you just said there, I had a thought where something like milk, you're not necessarily getting too much of it at once and freezing and
That's
all
right.
of that, but it's half price. And so you can go back a couple of weeks later and get another half gallon at
That's right.
half price.
And the thing about where we live, near Cobb Square with the SNAP benefit, Cynthia.
Right. I
that
used to
whole
live
thing.
since you kicked me out.
Yeah, I got you. But you still live there, just not in my district. But what's great about it is the farmers markets and places like this where you can go in, get these fruits and vegetables all times of the year. So that's what's also important. You think about where we live, you have to make sure that even in the winter, you're able to go and get something that's local and that's also reasonably priced, because we know the importance of having SNAP benefit on fruits and vegetables, because these are the things that's most expensive.
I mean, we're sitting here right now and we're looking at someone that's making them look wonderful and pretty. We're looking at fresh fruits and vegetables. And as you talked about in the winter, we don't have as many as
That's
the
right.
farmer markets.
That's right.
And yes, you have to, there's a supermarket and whatnot, but coming down
Yeah,
here.
the supermarket stuff comes from California. That's what I keep saying.
I know,
So-
because I think it was Rep Moran, or one of them was saying that back in the day, there was a large percentage that came from California. And so I had just thought locally
Not
here.
that I'm throwing down
Yeah,
California. I'm just simply saying, if you want your freshest fruits and vegetables,
That's where you get the
want-
most
that's right,
vitamins and the
that's
best value.
because they're losing all the nutrition on their way on the road. You know what I mean? Like on the plane, then on the bus,
The gravity
and then
and-
all that stuff. Sorry, we gotta get
No, you're
serious. here. I'm
good, you're
sorry,
good.
I got it.
No, because this listen, we have to, in this joking, because this is a serious matter.
It is
Food deserts is an issue.
absolutely
Hunger
fresh
is
food.
an issue. Say
Fresh
that-
food.
Fresh food.
People like to say food deserts,
But
How
you
about
want to be
fresh?
specific.
Yeah, I want some fresh fruits and vegetable desert. That's what we really do have. Because rest assured, there's still McDonald's, Burger King, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Popeyes.
I don't have my
But-
coffee.
so-
Oh
so-
my goodness.
so
that was a
there-
sip right there.
There is plenty of food. The question is it fresh food?
Fresh and healthy.
Because they fight like crazy in Common Square to keep fast food from coming as well.
Well, I'm sure you had some. Well, we're not going to get too much
Yeah, I
into
had
that, but
some.
there was
Yeah.
another fast food place that didn't make it.
Yeah.
And now we have even supermarkets are being more populated with fresh fruits and vegetables.
That's right.
But here at Boston Public Market,
that's kind of where we
it's
are now.
local.
That's right.
It's local.
So I wanted to give a shout out to Citizens. They were also, I know they were
Shout
on
out to
earlier
Lisa.
because of the fact that my understanding is the one person that won last year has now been self-sustaining now. So even though they had won the year that was complimentary by Citizens,
Yes,
they've now gotten stronger and now on their own. That is exactly the type of things that we want to be seeing here in the market.
How important is it, sir? Though not in the Senate, represented the House of Representatives. How important is it with your colleagues that they support and get behind any and everything that is supporting Boston Public Market, who just graduated 39 entrepreneurs,
That's right.
77% of them were BIPOC. I don't know what
72.
72.
72%. I
thought
think
you said-
77 women, 72% of color, but don't matter. We making a couple
You're not
differences
going to
there.
do me, State Representative.
No,
Go ahead, sir. Give me
you know my
thoughts.
numbers, guy. I just want to make sure I get them right. That's all.
We know you're enough that.
Because you got me on tape and all. I want to make sure we're speaking the right language, you know. But yes,
Are you
77%.
sticking around when the camera goes off?
No.
I love you, man. So how important is it for that to continue and to take place? Lisa supports that.
Yeah.
How important is that in that staying in that and still being supported? Boston Public Market here, but having that entrepreneurship program supported as well.
Well, when you think about small businesses, many of our community, that's where we get started. Like we have a very entrepreneurial spirit amongst Black and brown folks.
Mhm.
And the problem always comes down to money, technical assistance,
Resources.
making sure that we also have the business planning. So it's not just, having the booth for a while. Let's get the technical assistance. Let's get the business training. Like even when we're going through ARPA, one of the things that people say, well, let's go get some funds.
For those that are listening that may not know, ARPA was or still
is just the money from the feds that helped through COVID. There were businesses who were not able to get their money because of the fact they didn't have the books right. Like literally they were still doing things under the table and the like. And so when you can get, I think she said 24 entrepreneurs last year, 39 this year,
Yes.
they don't just stay here in the market. They go back into the communities. They then become, stronger. They then get a storefront. That's why places like this is important.
Final question for
Yes.
you is, how would you describe I know you're a numbers guy. I know you play with, so I'm going to be honest. This young man, I went to meet with him some years ago and we need $1 million and no.
Yeah.
And Representative Holmes was like, that's all fine and wonderful, but I'm talking about the billion. I'm talking about the 20 million
That's
and the
right.
billion things. So you go after big numbers.
That's right.
Why do you take the approach to sustainable long-term economic development the way that you do?
Because I feel that many times people come to my neighborhood with chump change and think that this chump change is going to be enough to make me happy because many folks in my neighborhood don't have much in resources. But I work over in the Seaport.
Mhm.
I worked before over in Copley, and I see the amount of economic opportunities that are happening. You're building literally in this city. We're building cities in this city, whole cities.
A whole city's getting ready to come to
Fenway.
Dorchester now.
Right, a whole city's coming to
Yep.
Dorchester. And then you think you're going to come over here with chump change for me? No, Blue Avenue should get the same amount of attention as what's getting on Seaport Boulevard.
Mhm.
And so my point is, I want my neighborhood to become a destination, a place that people drive to and not just drive through. Like if you think about what's going on over here, when you go over to North End, it's a destination. People, time you say the North End, they envision what that means, how many restaurants, how they can walk down the street, how they can come over here, all the things they can do. When you think about my neighborhood, people are thinking, how fast can I drive through this thing? Can you get through? And then get mad at me because I'm putting the bus lane. Because the bus lane.
We're not. We're on Cheryl's time because I was sitting up here. I was I got you here, but we're gonna behave.
Some other people need to talk.
But how does and do you agree and see the same for Boston Public Market to be that destination spot
Absolutely.
as well?
I mean, when I think about just when I was walking over here, again, I had in my mind a destination. This was a place to come to.
Yep.
And that's very different. That I didn't come over here. You don't think about the market and think, oh, I'm gonna just come through here. I want to sit down. I want to talk to people. I want to collaborate. I want to try something different. This is exactly the type of model that I would love to have in the neighborhood. And I thank you all for having me today.
Okay. Representative Holmes, I appreciate you, man. We not in as much contact because that means I'm not calling him and fussing about as much.
Yeah.
But I appreciate everything you do.
Because you're getting too big to call me. You get to hang out with gov and the mayor.
I love you, man. I appreciate you.
You don't
Please
need
give
the
your
mayor.
please
No,
give your
no,
wife my best.
small
You're not going to
people
do
like
me.
me.
Please give your wife my best. No, it's little by big things get done, and so
Yes,
we
that's right.
appreciate you and staying committed in that House of Representatives. I really mean that, man.
All
Thank
right.
you.
I appreciate you, Doc. Have a good one.
We are getting ready to bring some more of our officials here. We have the Agricultural Commissioner who's getting ready to come and chat with us. And I mean, this is essentially her day. It was Agricultural Advocacy Day at the State House. And so I am so excited to get ready to present to some and introduce to others our Agricultural Commissioner by the name of Ashley Randall. And so you were up at the State House working.
I was
You came in
working.
your work clothes.
Well, I'm a commissioner by day, Celtics fan by night. So had a little wardrobe change.
Okay. Well, let's just go with the fact that you was up there advocating. You got the relaxed clothes on. So please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And in this particular case, we haven't asked folks about their story, but for someone to be the agricultural secretary, this wasn't by happenstance. This is something you wanted to go into and have probably a history. So I want to hear at least a minute of your story as well after you greet the people.
Sure. Well, it's great to be here, Jimmy. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I love being at the Boston Public Market. A lot of fun memories here. And when we think about agriculture, I think about my upbringing. And I was raised on a 5th generation dairy farm. I grew up in Western Massachusetts in Deerfield, so a rural community. But then from there, I knew that I wanted to go into policy work. Growing up on the farm to be able to help farmers with the challenges that my parents were experiencing in agriculture. And so my career path led me to undergrad at Cornell to focus on agricultural economics and policy. And then I went to law school to have a legal background to understand how I could best support farmers in the challenges they were facing. And then I ended up in state government. I worked in Maine first for a few years and got that perspective, and then came back to Massachusetts. In 2015, I started with the department as our deputy commissioner, working on all of our legislation and policy work. And then I was appointed just over a year ago by Governor Healy.
So shout out again to our good friend, Governor Healy. And so the reason, and I'm glad because if you notice with everyone else, you may not have been here, but I haven't asked about this story. And so for you to talk about your story, you have life experience. You also went to Maine, which we were talking with our undersecretary that may presumably be more of a rural area. So you have some sensitivity to the rural initiative. And so it is so awesome to hear that you have the life experience to be able to be in that position, because I think that is hugely important. And so when you came up, I talked about today being your day as the agricultural commissioner that is within the administration. And we know Advocacy Day is done on a more legislative side, but I still would consider that your day, because if everything is successful, guess who gets a bigger budget? Guess who gets to be more flexible and do some different things? And so what do you hope comes out of Agricultural Day today?
So Agricultural Day at the State House is by far my favorite day, but I may be a little biased. But I would say that it's a great day to create the connections with the legislative delegation, to highlight the diversity of Massachusetts agriculture. When you look at Massachusetts, that's one of our strongest assets, is the diversity of our crops, our products, and our people.
So I know of the people, I know of the products in agriculture, what they produce as a product, but I never knew that we were known for our diverse agriculture. We have the cranberry farms down on the Cape. But outside of that, I didn't know that Massachusetts was known for any type of agriculture.
So we have over 7,000 farms in the state, both in rural settings and urban agriculture, which is one of our fastest growing sectors. When you go into Boston, to Worcester, to Springfield, urban agriculture is really critical to those communities and economic development in the community, and having access to a local nutritious source of food. And so when you look at agriculture across the state, from cranberry bogs to dairy farms in Western Mass, there's really something for everyone and a place for everyone in the agricultural sector here because of our diversity.
It's been a while where I've been a little stumped, and you think you know some things. And so I'm really glad to hear that that we have over 7,000 urban farms, you said?
7,000 farms
farms
total.
Wow. That is definitely amazing. I was talking, I believe it was to our undersecretary saying earlier that there's a mental health perspective to farming and gardening. Mariama White Hammond, who I'm sure you may know, she talked about me being urban farmer, even though I had just, a couple of tomato crops and some Thai basil and a few other things. And so I thank you for teaching me or learning about that. One of the other things before we get ready to wrap up is to ask you about, you hear about the entrepreneurship that's going on here. You hear about the different types of local farms that are bringing different products here. Some of the places here that prepare food get their supplies from local farms. How important is it to keep places like Boston Public Market supported? In addition to what you know, though you're in agriculture, there's the entrepreneurship that goes on here as well. Can you speak to both of those?
Absolutely. I mean, it's critically important to have a place like the Boston Public Market because of our consumer base in the Commonwealth with 7 million residents, be able to connect them directly to the farms and food system producers. This is an outlet for not only sales for the businesses, but education, creating that connection with community members and being able to serve as an incubator for the growth of these businesses, not only in the Boston Public Market, but then beyond. They may go to farmers markets. And one of the things that makes Massachusetts special again is we consistently rank in the top 5 for direct to consumer sales. And this would be an example of that, where you have farm stands, farmers markets, community supported agriculture. So the farms are able to sell directly to the consumer without a middleman or further processing, distribution. And it's really an asset to be able to have those connections directly with consumers.
Before we get ready to let you go, there were 2 former guests. I'm listening to you, and based on your last response, do you see anything coming down the pike at all for some focus with young people in agriculture as a career? Because we've gotten away, and with this technology and everything, there's a whole environment, there's a whole culture, there is a whole, I believe it was Senator Moran or McGregor that talked about coming up in Philly and having that experience of being, there's just a different persona when you're raised on a farm or you're moving in agriculture, you're getting your hands in the dirt and can I tell you something? In 2020, I've made my own salads all my life. In 2021, I grew a salad. The tomatoes, the cucumbers, the lettuce, and listen, and it's not, it did taste better. It's not easy, but it did taste different. And so do you see anything coming down the pike for young people where they're working in agriculture and they can maybe come here, get some entrepreneur classes? And because this is an area that I think we really need to be more intentional about with our young people as a career option, a viable one, because people are always going to need to eat. So I'm sorry.
You couldn't have not teed this up better, Jimmy.
Are you about to make an announcement?
So today at Ag Day, we announced that we formed a Massachusetts Ag Youth Council to foster not only the next generation, but the now generation, as I like to say, of leaders that we need in agriculture. We need business owners, we need farmers, we need drone operators. I mean, the industry is
so you could take somebody
so
in agriculture that loves the tech and then teach them how to do a drone to go out and survey the land and then
There's so many opportunities in agriculture, and you see that here at the public market, and you see it across the space in Massachusetts. And we're hoping to help build that and foster that growth in our young people. So we're extremely excited. And I was talking to Cheryl, and there will definitely be a day where we spend here with the youth to show them about entrepreneurship and business development. So there's a lot of opportunity, and we're ready to take it on.
So I had no idea. If you remember when, who was sitting here, McGregor or Moran? McGregor. I had sort of teased him and kind of put him out there to get some sort of commitment to supporting young people. And
here's the commitment.
You about to be the new homie, Miss Ashley. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really enjoyed you. Are you getting ready to go to a Celtics game? Yes. We need to let you go so you can get up there and get your seat and be on time. Thank you so much for being with us. And I will be sure to look out for next year for Agricultural Day and maybe make my way up to the State House just to see what's going on there. Thank you so much. And
We'd love
another
to
good
have you.
choice. Thank you so much. And another good choice of our Governor Healy. So thank you so much for being with us today. Listen, folks, we're getting ready. That's my mic. We're getting ready to wrap up in a couple of seconds. Our wonderful, she's going to get me for this, but our wonderful nurturer here within the Boston Public Market. We might, come on, Cheryl, we might as well just accept the embrace that you're nurturing, and your personal commitment to this space and these folks leads us to the space. Yep. Leads us to the space to kind of tease it with all due respect to say, you are a mom, a professional mom, entrepreneurial mom to a lot of folks. You just seen it when folks were talking, and I'm listening, and I've seen it before, but for some reason when Seth and Lucas were sitting here, I'm like, there's a family here at Boston Public Market.
It's a family, and sometimes families, all the good and the bad and the wonder of families and the joy of families. And, it's not easy for 30 entrepreneurs to work together. People sometimes need to have different agendas. So with everybody, I think our team is most proud of the community. Of all the work we do, I think we're most proud that after several years, we've managed to build a community, even though everybody doesn't always agree with each other. And it's great. And so we're really proud of that. And I do think it makes the Boston Public Market have a certain feel and a sense of community that you just don't have. And I do think, frankly, it keeps vendors here because it's not easy, but it is generally fun to be here.
I mean, you definitely get that from just my interviewing folks. I'm watching my friend from Seven Hills Pasta. I see them online and whatnot. Like there's folks I keep in contact with and follow on social media now from my relationship here. And so, Cheryl, we would be remiss without asking everybody to just give. And I know you talk about the team, and I'm going to actually, before we give you a hand, can you name the team members? Because every time we name Cheryl, she's like, so
yeah, we do
name everybody.
Thank you. We do have an amazing team at the Boston Public Market. It's basically 6 full-time folks on our team, but we punch well above our weight, and we're a small but very mighty team. So it's Shannon, who is an incredibly talented brand manager for us, Gina, who's our market vendor manager.
It got me on the internet. Thank you.
Yes, Aaron, who was here earlier, who's our market vendor manager, Bianca, who's our events coordinator, Chelsea, who's our chief marketing and engagement officer, and and Jax, who's our chief marketing officer.
Marketing?
Yes.
I wish we could get a shot. We actually could, but no, we're not. Newt said we're not turning the camera.
Yeah, so we do have, I do also want to acknowledge Rebecca Kaiser, Emily Neckes, and Jesse Mermel, who work with the Boston Public Market, have done incredible work with us. Jesse connected us originally with James, and we're very grateful for the relationship. And then finally, a thank you and shout out to you. We're grateful in so many ways that you were sort of on your special friend list now, because I know you have a lot of friends, and we're privileged to be on that list.
You definitely, the Boston Public Market, you are. And just by the way that Cheryl rubbed me and said James with that maternal, it's definitely a special relationship here, along with Jesse and the team as well, and my team with the Davis system, who they have their own relationship. And so it's family. It is really family here. We're here to talk about agriculture. We're here to talk about economic development. But a lot of that, we being economically sound and having good food, usually leads back to the ability to spend more time with our family. In spending that time, we have fresh food options from local farms producing agriculture here in the state of Massachusetts. And so I believe, did we cover everything today?
Yeah, I want to say one more. I would just, in honor of Ag Day, I do want a special shout out to the farms at the Boston Public Market, Farmhouse Meats and Cheese, Stillman's Farm, Sienna Farm, Crescent Ridge, Saluna Garden Farm. So those are, the farms of the market. And yes, and these farms source products, as do many of our vendors, from some of those 7,000 farms all over the state that that the commissioner mentioned. So we're really proud of that.
We can give them a hand. We've done a few of these, Cheryl, but I think this one for me was the most comprehensive, and I really learned a lot about the farms and to hear about what they're getting ready to do with the young people, that this is going to be, as Russell Holmes said, a destination not only for coming, but the youth agricultural council thing that we're getting ready to do with our commissioner. And so, Cheryl, thank you for this opportunity to be here.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad to be here, and one of the only few times where I've seen this up on a big screen like that. So Cheryl and the team, thank you all so much for that. Listen, everyone, tomorrow morning at 11:30, we're talking about health equity. We're talking about food justice and things like that. We are airing our show with the correction. Senator Elizabeth Warren will be with us at 11:20 live tomorrow morning at 11:20, not 11 a.m. We worked with the office. That's our senator. And so we're flexible with our senator. So please make sure you tune in to Java with Jimmy tomorrow morning. I'm not going to tell you live from where, because we don't want y'all showing up, getting off topic. But tune in tomorrow morning at 11:20 a.m. Senator Elizabeth Warren. I want to thank Newt Johnson. Come in the shop, brother, so they can see you with your. I'll wait. Come in the shot with Java with Jimmy t-shirt. Newt Johnson is down here helping me out. Thank all of you that have watched today, Belinda, Rena, Tashad, and everyone. Thank you all so much, and we will see you tomorrow morning at 11:20 a.m. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.